Hey everyone, so today we have somebody who's interviewing at OpenAI, so we gotta get him prepared. Interviews coming up, so we're gonna focus on practical coding questions, and we're gonna see where his skills are at. You want to give a quick introduction or brief background of yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm just a third year junior studying computer science here in Toronto.
Nice. Have you done any internships before?
Yeah, so I worked at Amazon Web Services.
I see. How do you get this interview? Did you just apply
Um,
regularly?
yeah, I just applied early, I guess.
Nice. What do you think stood out about your experience that helped you, or did you do anything different in order to get this interview?
Um, I honestly just applied with my regular resume. I think I put like some programming like Usico, Gold, stuff like that on my resume. So that might set up probably not, to be honest. I think it was just like the experiences and the projects.
In your experiences was mostly AWS, or did you have a bunch of side projects that actually got users and
No, I didn't have like side projects with users, but they were like, I think they were pretty cool.
yeah. Were they
I had
super
like,
technical?
oh yeah, that's what I think it was. I built like a database.
Oh, nice. From scratch?
Yep,
What language?
C++. plus plus.
Wow. Is that what you're gonna code in right now?
No, I'll use Python.
Okay. In school also, did you do any hackathons and things like that to set yourself apart?
Oh yeah, I've done like 10 hackathons.
Yeah.
Like first year, second year, I was going crazy every weekend.
Yeah.
I was going to a hackathon.
Did you win any?
Yeah, I won like half the ones I went to.
Wow. Maybe that's why you got that OpenAI interview. What else do you think you did to set yourself apart?
Um, like I put like basically how much money I won in those hackathons as well. I think maybe like the money figure probably looked nice.
I see. How much money you make off the hackathons?
Over like 5,000.
Nice. That's solid. That's a solid month of work right there. All right. So since this is a AI company, what we're gonna be implementing this interview is what I'm gonna call a AI gateway. And it's gonna be a very
Okay,
simple thing right now. So we're gonna be implementing an AI gateway. It's gonna be just a single class in memory. But what this
sure.
gateway, we're gonna build on it. But first, let's just start off with simply, we're taking this gateway. You can add a credit balance for specific users, and then you could refill those credits. But then you could also use up those credits. So I just want you to design this thing from scratch, ask as many questions, and yeah, how would you design? It's a let's mix this up a little bit. It's gonna be system designy, but you're gonna have to
Sure.
implement this class from scratch. So yeah, just walk me through all of the steps that you would take in order to implement a basic AI gateway, and then we'll expand from there.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, just starting off with like I guess the initial thing. So I think the functionality we need is okay, add credit balance, right? So we probably need an add function, right? Support refilling credits, right? So I guess refilling can wait, can you tell me the difference between refilling and add in this case? And I guess use also makes sense here, but um I'm kind of wondering, so does this support multiple customers, or is it for like a single instance of this class would be for a single user?
The single instance of this class is the gateway for all our customers.
Hmm. Right? So then I think for now, maybe just having these kind of makes sense. And then so how I'm going to represent the state of all customers is going to be a hash map, right? So customers is going to be, and then the key will be, for example, customer ID, right? So like for example, maybe UUID V4 or whatever it's called, right? So uh, like something like that. Colon, and then we can store like metadata, but for now, I think like it makes sense to just store the balance, right? Or we can do this, and then I think this will be more scalable if we have like something like this. And then here we store an int, right? And this is going to be the balance, right? So I think for the state, this makes sense. Now for add, I think simply we can just
Or
okay,
let me
we
answer your question quickly about different between adding and refilling. So adding would be more in the register. So kind of
okay,
somebody would just come in, they start off with the initial balance, but they also want to register themselves. And then
okay, sure. So
afterwards, when it gets low, they can refill. And then
okay,
yeah,
sure.
use it.
So okay, I get it. So here we'll have that like cust ID, right? So this is going to be the unique identifier for the customer as well as the uh initial balance. Bal is equal to is going to be initially 0, but then of course like they can choose to put some, and then so then now just or wait, this would be for yeah add and then refill. So we can kind of split up the states here. So add will only create this instance of customer ID, and then it will call refill to refill the customer, right? So then this is going to be balance, and this can also be just equal to 0. And then so here we're kind of like splitting up the uses of like the two functions, right? So this add will just purely register the user and then call this function which will refill. And then we have use here, and for use, we're going to take in customer ID again, right? So we're going to take in customer ID, take in amount, right? So then what do you want this to return? Should it return the amount, the balance, or true or false based on whether they can spend that amount?
It's a good question. What do you think it should do?
Um, so I think we can basically do both, but like right now we don't really have a way of getting the user's balance, right? So then I think it it might make sense to like maybe return like an array of both things, or use can um I guess here like it can really go both ways. It kind of depends on the user. Like um I think a true or false is fine here, to be honest. Like whether they can use or not use, right? Like it does not say get balance. So sure.
Yeah,
So I mean it does two things, right? Check check if user has at least amount, then spend, right? Spend, return and return true. And then here, if it doesn't have it, then return false. Does that make sense for like this use case right now?
yeah, I see. Okay, in refill, what are the parameters to this function and what is it returning?
Sure, yeah. So refill is going to be the customer ID, right? So who wants to get refilled? Um, and then this is also here. I think it should return the new int being the new balance, because a a refill it should not fail, right? So then it makes sense for it to return the int, which is the new balance. And then so how the logic here is okay, check if exists. Okay, if the user exists, uh like user at balance plus equal balance, right? And then I guess like housekeeping wise, we have to make sure that the balance is positive, right? So balance is positive, pause. Um and then yeah, I think that's fine for now.
I see. Okay, I think that makes sense. Let's go ahead and implement that first version.
Sure. Okay, so then I think just we're gonna call a class API. We called it AI gateway, right? AI gateway, right? And gateway, my bad. And then so the we're gonna define the constructor here. So the constructor will take in self, and then I'm guessing initially this won't be constructed with users, and then they would use this add command or this register command to initialize users. Or do you think that this could be instantiated with already given users.
Let's just say when it spins up, it
Okay,
yeah, it doesn't have anything.
sure, that makes sense. So then we can just use a default dictionary here, import, right? So then here the value is going to be the customer ID to a dictionary of like the balance, maybe
Mm-hmm.
customer name eventually and stuff like that, right? So then self dot customers is going to be equal to default dictionary of a dictionary. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, and then I think we're fine for the constructor now. So now adding, right? So then so the def will take in self, and then here we said customer ID, right? So 1 second, plus ID, and then it will take in the initial balance, right? So initial balance, right? So um now like just some things to clarify. A user, if it already exists, then they shouldn't be like reinstantiated, right? So then does that make sense?
Yep.
Sure. So then here the add is going to return a true or false. So first thing we're going to check is if customer ID uh in self.customers, right? So this means it exists, then we can't create it, right? So then we return false. And then now here we're assured that the user does exist, right? So then we can do cust ID, self.customers at cust ID is going to be equal to this dictionary, which has the balance. Oh wait, balance set to initial balance. Or wait, actually, I remember saying that I was gonna move this part to the other function. So let's do that. So def refill. So here we'll just purely instantiate this with um with zeros. I think that makes sense here. So there we go. And then so this will be instantiated with a 0, and then we'll call this refill to actually refill. So a refill takes in self, and then we said customer ID and balance. Cust ID balance, right? So then um here we're so are we guaranteed that this refill, like this customer ID exists in refill as well, or should we check again if the user exists or not? I think
What do you
it
think?
would make sense to check, yeah. So then we can just have like a function here, check. Wait, we can just do like user exists. Okay, and then this will take in self cust ID return cust ID and self dot customers. Okay, now and I guess here we can just check. So if not self dot underscore user exists, and then we send in cust ID, then we just return false, right? And then here, okay, we set this initial balance to 0. Now we're gonna call refill with the initial balance, and we just add it to 0. So again, we can just copy this logic. Oh, why is this false not copying? Okay, wait. I hope it
Working
copied.
for me.
Okay. Okay, yeah, just the false was not copying. Everything else was okay. Okay, so now just a refill here is just going to be pretty simple, right? So then self dot customers at cust ID plus at balance plus equal balance, right? And then this should return here. Okay, wait. So then refill this here, I think if we're returning false if it exists, right, then we should just return like true that it refilled, right? So then I think I said that up there as well, right? So then, oh no, I said int. Um, I think this logic makes sense here, to be honest. So return stuff dot refill um stuff dot refill cust ID uh and balance, right? So okay, I think here we should be fine. And then what was the other ones used, right? So then I think use is pretty simple, right? So def use, and let me know if like you need clarifications or anything anywhere. Amount,
So
right? So
on the
then
ad, you're calling the refill. So you're starting the customer at a certain balance and you're adding a refill.
yeah, yeah. No. So the ad, like we mentioned before, it's to instantiate the customer, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then I'm doing that, and then the logic of like or the responsibility of adding balance is going to be up to like refill itself.
Yep. Okay.
And then use here. So again, we just I think it's just common practice. Make sure that this customer ID exists, right? So and then if it exists, um, what do we check? So if so I guess user here is equal to self dot customer customer at customer ID, right? And then wait, did I spell this right? Oh, customers, yes, S. There we go. Okay, so now if our current users balance is greater than or equal to the current amount we want to spend, then we should be good, right? So then user at balance minus equal amount, and then here return true, and then uh and then I guess there is no else, so we just return false here.
I
Does
see.
does
Okay.
everything make sense?
All right. Walk me through line by line from the start of your AI gateway to the end.
Wait 1 sec. I think okay. Amount. Okay, there we go. Yeah, sure. So constructor here, we're gonna go ahead and instantiate like the in-memory structure which we use to store like all the customers, right? So we have a helper function here called users exist. And then it just basically tells us if this customer ID exists, right? So what the add function does here is checks, okay, does the user exist? If it exists, then you can't add the user, right?
Yeah.
And then so um and I guess we can do that. Okay. So if the customer exists, then you're gonna go ahead. I mean, if the customer does not exist, you instantiate the customer in this in-memory structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then you just fill it with this initial balance that they passed in. And then so what this does again, to be more modular here, it like this check is a little bit redundant, but like just for the sake of modularity, because refill might be called multiple times, right? Like and not just from add, right? So just for case of modularity, we check, and then so if the user exists, right, then we just add this balance to it, right? And then I guess do you want me to check if the balance is going to be negative or the amount here used is going to be negative? Like small edge cases like that, or you think this is fine?
Well, should they be able to use up if they don't have enough credits?
Yeah, so I mean I guess for use here, if no, this like over here, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. But I'm saying like just like these inputs being
Oh,
malformed, like
okay.
okay,
I
in
see.
Python, like anything
Yeah.
you can pass in anything, so it's like it might
Okay.
be cooked, right?
Yeah, we'll just assume that it makes sense if what do you think if you're building a real production system?
I think a real production system, like it makes sure that like okay, who's going to be user, right? The user is going to be you or the other developers, right? And I
Yeah.
think like it makes sense for them to kind of know like how to use the product, you know.
Okay, so you wouldn't add the
And
check there?
I guess you can know, like I guess you could add like type hints or something, but aside from that, like if another developer is using it, then like you shouldn't be able to trying to like fix your own code mistakes in the function, right? Like,
Yeah. Okay. Write me out
or
some
this
test
could,
cases. Let's make sure this thing works.
yeah, sure. So I think like one other thing is um, like this would be the back end, right? So I think all those like inputs for like the user should be already validated on the front end, right? So yeah, sure. So here, like let's start. So we're going to say gateway equals AI gateway, right? So we're instantiating this, and then let's go ahead and add some users, right? So um gateway dot add, and we're gonna start these guys off with like no money, I guess. Here I'll put James as one of the users. And we'll put like $12, I guess. And then we can have some for like uh Rob, um Rob or Bob, I guess. Okay, I think 3 is fine.
Sure.
0. Uh like 5. Okay. So now we added all these users. Right. So I think again here we should print all of this out since like we want to see if they got added properly, right? So um print um okay. I think what happened to print dot add? Oh, print here. So there we go. So we're printing basically that these users got added. And now let's say we want to um use some of James's money, right? So print gateway dot use um again James, and then here we're gonna use 13, and then this should be false, and then this should be true, right? 3, so false, true. Okay, missing argument amount. Oh, I forgot the commas. Okay, so this is fine, and then I guess last thing here we should use refill. So maybe now we'll add a lot more money to for James, and then see if now he can like use the amount he needs, right? So here we use 3, we're at 10. Now we want to use 13, right? So let's go ahead and add like um 3 back to him, and then this is gonna be refill, and then we'll go ahead and try this again, right? So then this should return true, um, true, and then this should return true as well, right? So five choose 1 not true. Here, let's run this. Okay, false, false, false. Wait, why is add returning false? Return refill. Okay, if user exists, customer ID return false. Okay, wait. Self-sell customer and customer. Wait, this is. Oh, wait. Let me just read this real
Everything's
quick.
false.
Yeah, I think there's okay, return self. Okay, if not, user exists. So if this exists, it's gonna return true. So this would be false. This would not get passed here. Self dot plus equal. Okay, I think we can just like print stuff out, right? So um print uh
I mean, I
cust
thought for these we're
ID.
gonna return the actual values instead of true or false.
Yeah, sure. I guess like we can do that as well then.
Okay. Well, I thought that's what you
Okay,
initially
so yeah,
proposed, but
initially,
yeah,
but like then this does not make sense. Like the checking if the user exists on top of every single one. Like it depends how like the the state is managed here, right?
yeah.
Like like so do you want me to add it like that, but or do you want me
No,
to
it
just like
is.
quickly debug this?
It's up to you how you want to design it, but yeah, just figure out what's going wrong here.
Yeah, sure. So I guess okay. So I guess user exists. Let's check this. Print cust ID um exists. And then we just print this, right? Okay, I think let's just see that for now. Okay, James exists false, right? But James does exist. Return cust ID. Oh, So if user exists, this should return true, but it's saying that it does not exist. Why is that? Self customer at cust ID. Okay, wait, we can just print um self customers. Uh, whoa. Okay, wait. Okay, James exists. False. Oh, okay. Okay, wait. Okay, my bad. Okay, wait. So I think that I found like the issue here. So if the user does if the user does exist here, we return false. Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Okay, and then I guess let me let me remove these, and then let's see if all our logic makes sense. So it should be true, true, false, true, true. Um. Okay, wait. So James had 12. Oh, I see. That's why. So we need to just refill with 4. Okay, yeah, there we go.
Okay, we're looking at a bunch of false. Okay, so we said false, true, true, true.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we should be testing?
Like yeah, like I guess we can test like breaking things as well, right? So we should pass in, for example, here, a user that already exists, right? So print gateway dot add. Here we add James again, right? So and then the amount like doesn't matter, right? So this should return false, right? So we should get true, 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 false, right? So here we're checking, making sure that like both states for add, okay, for refill. We can call refill with a customer that does not exist, and we can check for like the true state here and the false state, right? So gateway dot refill.
Makes sense, but
Um,
is there any other thing that we would want to test?
um,
Like right now, we're just testing false and true.
yeah, like but like everything here returns either false or true. No.
Mm-hmm. But what do we care about in our system?
Um, so we could do like load tests, right? So like, okay, what if we fill this up with like 1,000 users, maybe? Um, Here, let me think. Like, what?
Like we're what is true and false telling us? It's kind of just telling us if operations were successful or not, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
So,
what else is important in our system?
um, so wait, you said that true and false tells us if the operations were successful or not, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what it's telling us, right?
Okay. is- And then what else would we
Yeah. Think
care
about the
about in our
system. Like, what are
system?
we tracking? What do we even care about in this system? What's the currency?
Um, Wait, so I'm like really confused on what the question you're asking here is.
Like, right now, we're just testing if operations succeeded or not,
Okay.
right? That's. Could you think of other things that we could test besides like
Um,
edge cases? This is like, I think this is like fundamental to what we're doing here.
oh, I I don't think I can't think of anything, to be honest. Like,
What's sort of the currency that we're working with?
um, well, I mean, it's like it's just a balance, right? So
Yeah.
you want to, for example, check like okay, we could say it's USD, right?
Or I just want to check that the balance is actually being managed correctly.
Oh, okay, okay, I
Yeah.
see.
Does
I
that
guess
make
like
sense?
oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
because
then
at the
I
end of the
think
day,
like
we have this AI gateway. We're tracking people's like credits, so we want to just make sure that it's being managed correctly, right?
yeah, then I
The
guess for
button.
like the usage, just a helper function for usage of us testing here, right? It's just going to be check state, right? And what is going to print all the time is going to be print um self dot customers, right? Right. So we get the state every single time. Okay, there we go. And then we can call this for like wait, what is the pro? Oh, okay, I see. Okay, right. So we can just call this for all like the states, right? So then uh or we can just actually just call this outside, right? So then here print self dot or wait gateway dot underscore check state, right? So then here what we're expecting is uh just these users being in there, right? So
Hmm.
wait AI gateway refill. Did I miss something up here? Oh wait, okay, I messed. Okay, okay, right. So then okay, all these balances look fine here.
Okay. What happens after you make
Okay,
changes?
yeah, right. Let me just copy paste it. Okay, so here here the balance should for you should not change, right? Like it should stay at a constant 13,
Hmm.
or I mean 12, yeah, 12. So it stayed at 12. And then here we just use 3, right? So you should be at 9. So 12 9. Yep, 12
Hmm.
9. And then here we add 3 for you. I mean 4, right? So you should be back at 13 or up to 13. So
Hmm.
12 9 13, and then at the end you should be at 0.
Nice. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let's move on to the part two. So now
Sure.
we have this AI gateway. We're able to add credits and refill credits. I want to
Mhm.
set daily limits and weekly limits. This is a common thing with like Claude Code. So you could have credits, but they rate limit you. So yeah, let's just say the daily limit is you can use up 10 credits per week per day, and then weekly is 100 credits per week.
Wait, if it's 10 per day, right? Then you'll never reach the
Oh,
weekly
sorry.
one.
Yeah,
So isn't
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of
You're
useless?
smart, smart, smart guy. Weekly would be 30.
Okay. 30 credits a week, right? Um so I guess like we can have like another okay. Um so we might have to like track like each transaction. It kind of depends on like how you want this to go. For example, if it whenever a day changes, right? So then all the like limits for the users should go down, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then for example, for all of these functional or functions we have now, they also have to kind of input the date as well, correct?
You said again?
So now since we're tracking per day, right?
Yeah.
Um, for all of these, for example, at or like I guess mainly for use, um, another argument must be like the date as well, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
day, right? So um,
Yeah.
right. So then when the date is passed in, then we can like do all of our calculations, and then whenever next day happens, um, we have to clear like the states for like everything basically, right?
Yeah. And you could assume
Okay.
that this AI gateway is
Hmm.
not being called in a random order when it comes to you. Like we call use and we pass in the current time, so the current time is monotonically increasing.
Yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense, right? So I think like just I'm gonna write it out over here. So first things first, we should like be storing the biggest day, right? Store largest date, right? And then so I just have like a initial thought right now of okay, what do we do? We just track usage of each user on each day, right? But um when this day increments, I think just to save like just to save memory, now we can clear the usage of a single day, I think. And then how does this week work? So is the week just every 7 days, like or should it be like rolling, like based on like okay, they used it for example on like the third day of the week, right? So then now that the next time they can use it is the third day of the next week, or is the week like just Monday to Friday, or like not Monday, like 7 days?
Should be rolling, should be rolling because
Okay.
if somebody just starts using it on Wednesday, we don't want to like, cap them.
rolling, rolling days
We don't want to start
for,
giving them credits right
hmm
away, starting this Sunday. I mean,
yeah. So,
it's we honestly thinking about it, we could do any because I guess it's only the first week it messes with them.
hmm no, but then
So
like the initial like week stay for every single person is going to be different based on um their their first usage as well. And then I'm saying, is this the weekly limit going to be tracked just as they sign up or when they first use?
just when they sign up,
Okay, so when a user signs up, their initial date is
or I guess let's think about this for a little. Suppose I use the API one day,
mm-hmm.
and then it's been 2 weeks later, and then I just use it again for the first time, but I use it on a Saturday, and suppose it's supposed to refill. It's gonna my windows on a Sunday. Well, does it matter essentially?
No, I think like what we just check is okay. The okay, first, are they at their weekly limit, right? And
Yeah,
then if they aren't, or like even if they are, I think we just basically just check, okay, what was the um last like transaction that they just made, right? What was the date for that? And then if that's already longer than 7 days, um, then what we can do is basically just reset that state, right? And then um I guess now another thing we have to think about is um okay, has it been 7 days since their first day of usage? I think I think that's some more accurate right here is like, okay,
yeah,
has it been 7 days since the first entry or use of their usage? If it has, then we just clear that because okay, we don't care about that anymore, right?
yeah,
So now we just care about this new say,
yeah.
okay, I think like
No, this it's a good conversation. I think let's just simplify this to say every Monday this thing is gonna reset. So every 7 days is gonna reset for everyone on the same exact day, and then for the weekly, and then daily it's just gonna reset. Pretty much daily, you have a daily usage. Now tell me, like, what data structures are you gonna use in order to enforce these constraints, these limits?
yeah, so I think for the daily, what we can do is so we can have another usage dictionary here, right? So it's going to be usage, right? And so this would be equal to, and I'm just thinking out loud, this might not be the final, but like I'm just just going with wait, I think, but let me just fix these comments. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So okay, usage is going to be something like this. Again, it goes from with um customer ID, ID to a, and I guess this might also be another field here, right? So if we add another field here, usage, um, and then how we would store usage, I guess, is it should be like an array, right? Which is going to be monotonically increasing, right? So then we can probably just do like some sort of like uh I guess just basically just look at the header, the tail, and then store some data in that, right? So then okay, we have a usage. This is going to be the array, right? What this stores might be a tuple, right? So maybe the day amount, right? Okay, day and amount. And then so this is just gonna hold every single transaction kind of. And then what we can do is so like there's multiple things I'm thinking of right now. Just like okay, some sort of prefix sum. Okay, we compute um usage in the past week in constant time, right? Um or like the amount in the past week in constant time, and then just go from that, or like from start to the end, and then that's for the week, and then for the day, we can just okay. So what we can do is So whenever there's a usage, right? For example, here we can say it's day one amount uh one, right? And then I guess this makes more sense to be another array instead of an array. Um, and then what we can do is okay, we check the head of usage. Um, okay, is the day the same? If the day is the same, then we just add like the amount, right? So let's say it's one plus one, right? And then if the day is different, then um what we there's like two things I'm thinking about here. One is like okay, now we just have a new entry with this new amount, but then the days might be staggered, right? So it might be one, and then maybe they use it on day three, right? At like for example for one, and then they use it at like day seven, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um and then and I think just this size of usage at max being seven, we can do basically any operation in constant time, right? So then um actually what makes sense here is just for this to store the not even the day of the week, just the amount used on every day, right? So just okay, 0 times 7, and then we can just modulos increment, and then if we ever are um if we ever are like a next week, then we just reset everything to zero, and that's all constant time, just because it's max seven. Does that make sense?
So we're gonna have this usage which is 0 times 7,
Or like the size of it's going to be, yeah, that's it. 0 times 7.
and
So
then like
okay,
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then
yeah, so just all 7 days of the week, and then um for a given day, right? We can just check, okay, is there usage here greater than this constant we have here, which is like, or if adding this new thing would be greater than a constant, then we can't use that. And then if it's not, then we check for the weekly, right? And then I guess um for the weekly, it should just be this the sum of every. I think maybe I'm kind of like going overboard with optimization here and not
mm,
like just practicality. So what I
yeah.
think is that um whenever we get to like the seventh day of a week, right? Like an input for the seventh day of the week. So like okay, whatever, day mod 7 equals 0, then we just reset the usage for everything. And then like I know I'm going a little bit more on the
So that's the
optimization thing.
usage for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody. Or now, another like way we can make sure like we'll have this usage state, and then let's say they don't use it for a while, right? Um, we can have this global generation, right? Uh, so gen, right? And then so let's say let's say that we're at the end of a week, right? For something. Um, okay, no, we can basically what we can do is so this day is monotonic. Okay, day divided by 7, right? Or yeah, so day divided by 7. Um, if this right here is like has changed, right? Then it's a new week, and then we just reset the state for the current thing, and then we can store the previous like kind of week, I guess, that we were at. Does that make sense? So this is kind
Mm,
of like lazily updating for user after the usage instead of every single time it's a new week we update. Does that make sense?
okay. All right. Let's spend like next 5 to 10 minutes implementing it, and then yeah, let's see where you
Okay,
get to.
sure. So I
Yeah.
guess like okay, for usage here, like most of this logic is going to be in usage, and I guess add does not matter here besides just okay. Um what did we say it was going to be called? Yeah, usage. So usage that, and this is going to be an array of 0 times 7. Okay. So we have this state now. Refill, I think refill logic is fine here. So now I think um and we don't need the day. We just need the day for usage. And then also we need to store the day here. So self dot max day is equal to, and then I guess we can just set it to 0 since we said that it's based on Monday, right? And then we can have self dot um what was the thing called, daily limit,
Yeah, this is gonna be
which will
10.
be 10, and then weekly limit 30, right? Okay. Weekly limit lim okay, and then this is going to be 30. Okay, now um so whenever there's a usage, right? We have to check a couple of things, right? So we can do, okay. Um okay, we have the user. If user balance is less than amount, we return false. Okay, that's fine. And then now we should also store a generation for a customer, like I said before, right? Or wait, let's see. Okay, yeah. Gen, uh, gen, and this is going to be equal to 0, I guess, at first, since the day is going to be 0. And then here now, what do we check? We check if if user at gen uh doesn't equal um day divided by 7, right? And then here I think, or yeah, day divided by 7, right? So then this means it's a new week. We can just reset the state, right? Um, user at gen equals day 7, and then also now usage just becomes this empty array again, right?
So what's day? Just a number? Like day 0, day 1.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
day 0, day 1. Unless you want me to do like
No,
the
it makes
UT,
sense.
yeah,
But yeah, it makes sense.
usage is going to be equal to this. All right, so now we updated this usage, and then now what else do we check? Okay. Um if user at if user usage at um day um mod 7 um is greater than, or is less than, so if the use if we the amount, or I guess this plus um amount here is greater than what was it, daily, right?
Yeah.
Self dot daily limit, then we return false, we can't use it, and then now we check for week, right? So then if user at usage sum, so if the sum of this is greater than, or I guess sum of this plus amount is greater than self dot weekly, return false. And then so now we kind of ensure, okay, it's like if we get down here, we can use it, right? So we don't need this check. But then what we do need to track now is also updating that amount as well, right? So then uh user user at usage at day mod 7 uh plus equal amount, and then we return true.
Yep.
Does this all make sense?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Could you just
Yeah.
walk me through it one last time and then we'll just end it there?
Yeah, sure. I think basically all the changes we made were to do with, I guess, this one hash map here, and then the logic down here, right? So
Yep.
then here we just add the usage. Okay, index 0 is Monday, and so on, and then how much they use on that day, right? So
Yep.
originally a user is not going to spend anything yet, right? So um is at 0, and then the
Yeah.
generation is going to be like which week basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so then refill. Okay, add to customer balance now in usage, right? First things first, before anything else, we have to make sure the user has enough money, right? So if the user does not have enough money, then we can just instantly return that.
Yeah.
Okay, they can't use it. Like the day stuff doesn't matter. Now the next thing is we check this generation thing. And what this generation tells us is what week it basically is, right? So then we're saying, um, for example, I think uh, for the first week, right, this would be equal to 0.
Yeah.
So we don't have to reset these two states.
Yeah.
But for example, for a future week, maybe it's the eighth day, right?
Yeah.
Um, then or like the seventh day, right? Then um, yeah, it's eight. Like we it depends one base zero base, but basically when this flips, then we set this generation to update to one up,
Yeah.
and then um
Makes sense. I
we
get that part.
yeah. I think here we also need to actually increase max day as well. But actually, it's we're not using it right now,
Yeah.
so then we don't need that as well. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, this logic is fine. Now, okay, we check the two limits. Okay, um, using this amount, will we go over our daily limit? If we do, okay, we can't use it. And then now we check, okay, weekly limit. Will we go over our weekly limit if we use this amount? Um, if we if we are, then of course return false. And then here's just okay, bookkeeping, use the amount, and then update the usage.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We're at time. How do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. I think like designs like straight off the bat I didn't have a solid like 100% design, but like as going through it I did like construct some stuff. I think that testing kind of stumped me, like maybe it was the wording or maybe like I didn't understand it properly, but like um I was like it was kind of hard for me to get what exactly like what you were trying to tell me to
Hmm.
do there. And then I think like okay, at the end, maybe like I can definitely like okay, clean up this state. Okay, like these two can be in their own helper function, or like all this logic can be in its own helper function, and like just separating state again. But then I think aside from that, like I think this went pretty well.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's walk through my feedback. I think for the first part, you definitely clarified the question well. You talk a little
Hmm.
fast. I mean,
Oh,
you fixed it a bit later, but yeah, like you talk a little fast, so just make sure that you're not just like over because I've worked with people who just talk really, really fast and people can't keep up. But
okay.
I would just yeah, maintain like a solid pace. Don't talk way too fast, but just be mindful of that. And
Hmm.
then one thing I asked you is about trusting the end user. And you should never trust the end user. In real product system, you should just assume that the user is always going to try to hack you. Try to put in some parameters that's going to help them out or cheat the system. So, because you mentioned,
Hmm.
oh, I'm just going to add good documentation. We can trust them because they're developers, but you have to have the mindset that everyone's trying to hack you. Every
Oh no,
developer is a
what I
bad
meant
actor.
was like, okay, this like backend AI gateway is being used for other developers of our company, which
Okay.
are like providing the service, and then the actual customer like okay, that's client side like verification before like
Hmm.
doing anything, I guess.
Yeah.
But now that you bring up the point, it does actually still make sense because like okay, you can do client side like okay, make sure that the input in this form is a positive number, right? But then like at the end of the day, it's gonna be a request, right? They can just curl the request and still put in a negative number. So
Yeah.
I
Like
understand now.
any user could make their own fake browser, fake any headers, fake any data, and like
Yeah.
use this AI gateway is not. I don't know if we talked about it, I guess, but I mean, if it was shown to the customers, or this is like we're implementing customers here, so it's not really internal. This is people. These are customers that are not in our business
Hmm.
using our API. So they're always going to try to figure out a way to use the API to their advantage. And if they
Okay,
could
I see.
find a
I
way
see.
to like add balances when they're not supposed to, they're going to do it.
Hmm.
So it's a
Okay.
small thing, but if somebody asks you that, always remember never trust the end user because the end user is going to find a way to hack you and or leverage your system for their own benefit.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Another thing is instead of doing prints, you could also do some asserts as well.
Oh
That's
yeah, oh
that's
yeah.
one thing if you just want to test it real quick. Sometimes it's easier to do assert so you don't have to keep reading the print statements, right? Instead of saying print and then read it and then try to look at the program output to see where if it was false and stuff, you could just say assert and then it would just break if it wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
That's one little thing that could go faster. Um, I think the first question it took about we stopped part one after 30 minutes. I think you should pump out that first part way faster than that, 10 to 15
Yeah.
minutes to save for
Okay.
part two and part three. Right.
Okay, there was a part three.
There isn't a part three, but there in most companies there'd probably be a
Mm-hmm.
part three.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I would this first part was a simple hash map, right? We have a balance
Yeah.
and then you increment decrement it. So should be 10 to 15 minutes. Usually
And then do you
okay.
mhm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I was just wondering, do you think I should you should be over communicating in interviews or like writing the code and then like just waiting basically for like the interviewer to say like, okay, can you explain this? And then explaining something.
Yeah, I think your communication is good. It was just when you're implementing it. I think we started implementing in 8 minutes in and it was done after 30. So it's like
Mhm.
22
Okay.
minutes. So I think probably watch the film over and just see where you could have sped up. But I would
Sure.
say try to get it done a little bit faster. Okay, let's
Okay,
talk
that
about
makes
the
sense.
second part. I think the daily limit, the rate limiting, you ask good clarifications as well. I think the
Mhm.
state could be heavily simplified. Like for usage, you could probably just have a hash map for day and then another one for week and then just do the same logic for the
Uh
user,
Wait, so
right?
like what but like at the end of the day and the week just have to like wouldn't the day just be in the week? Like first thing and then
So
second
what
thing is
what I
the
would do is increment the day as the day come and then also increment the week by doing the division.
okay, okay, I get it.
And then this way we don't lose data because you're losing data now. So if I ask you, oh, in day one ever, how much data or how much credits did they use? If I wanted to build like a graph to show their usage over the days, over the year, over the week, you wouldn't be
Mhm,
able to
okay, yeah, I get
reproduce
it.
that, right? So you lose data.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, okay, this is gonna use like a lot of memory if we just like keep on adding. That's why I kept on like saying like reset state and stuff.
It makes sense. What you mentioned there. This is just another way. I think it would have been more simple than doing this division and
Mm-hmm.
multiplication. But yeah, you eventually
Okay.
got in there. You should discuss the date format in advance, so you figured out that it was gonna be like just day zero, day one, day two, eventually. But you didn't say it
Mm-hmm.
up front.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
cause yeah, think about the important parts as well. Like yeah, like how are we gonna store date? How are we gonna keep track of date? What's the date format? It's gonna be a date stat time stamp. It's gonna be like year, month, date, date. Is it just gonna be like an integer? That's stuff that you should mention up front. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, you implemented the code, it works, but I mean, you did good. Those are just things you could improve it on to even do even better.
Yep, that makes sense.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, good things you did is obviously the clarifications was really good. You were able to break down the question. It was ambiguous, and you're able to break it down into the classes. I didn't have to tell you what functions to make and what it should return and what to check. You kind of brought all those things to light, which is good. You're able to, with part two, make existing changes to the code with minimal changes. Take so you're understanding how your code is structured and where to add your logic to solve the next problem that needs to get done. So you're able to extend your code. The way that you track, yeah, the way that you're just tracking state is one thing that you just need to make sure that it's clear on. So I think with this
Sure.
question, the most important thing is just tracking the state
Yeah.
and yeah, spend a lot of time thinking about that, the data structures and how you're gonna update and maintain the state. But I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're able to get the question right, the test cases. But yeah, the main like those other things that I mentioned would only be the negative pointers. But yeah, if you fix that, it should be good.
Okay,
Those
perfect.
make sense though, like the feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just rewatch the stream and
And then
take a look through
another
all that.
another thing I was gonna ask you after for part three, which is you probably wouldn't have to implement it, but I would have asked you how to make this API idempotent. So for example, somebody adds a balance, but then their front end sort of tweaks and they don't know that they just added a balance. So they click add a balance again.
Yeah,
So
sure. So I think we each transaction just have a unique ID, and then or like each request, I guess, and then um okay, if they're spamming the same request, right? Then we know to not just keep on adding the balance, right? So we just have a quick check for that.
okay, yeah. That's think about that as well. Like if this was
Hmm.
deployed in production, they're gonna ask follow-ups like that. Like how can you make this idempotent, etc. like that. But yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Thanks for coming out. See you next time.
All right, take care, James.
See you, man. Peace.
Bye bye.